Hello. So now let me show you what we have already right now. So we are in the editor and click play. And you can see now our viewport seems like inside the model, which means inside the body. So if I click eject, you can see we already imported model from the marketplace, but like we saw the camera stuck inside the body. So yeah, so this video I would create a new camera and to let us can see more see this character more clearly. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. So the first things before we create a new camera. So going to the character blueprint, and we open it, open the full editor, and drag this to the main editor, and going to click viewport. So here you can see this is our character we have right now, and now we have a capsule arrow. So this arrow means the front. So we should change our mesh to face the front. Okay. Yep. So we rotate 90 degrees and save. And back to let me see again. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So now we are trying to create a camera because right now there is no camera here, and for the I mean every first person shoot again or maybe RPG or some game, there's always have a camera can let players see from the back or even from the top from different angle. So we need a camera. So how we can add that? So let me back to our code base right there and click on necessary run. Okay, so we double click our UK shooter. No, not this one. This is a game one. We need to click the character. Yeah, so this is the one. So now I want to add a component called SpringArm component. So let me do this. Protect. And there we can add the SpringArm component. U means it's a class. SpringArm component, and this is a pointer. So SpringArm component, and we want to protect. We want to add a new property for that. I just copy paste from the other code. So we need a new property. We just set to the visible anywhere, and I think you already know. We put a new property here as we want to garbage collector to handle this address, and what is the SpringArm component? Basically, is a camera. Boom. That is a camera boom. And yeah, so we create this one. Okay, so after we declare the variable, we need to really create something for that, because this is just a pointer, right? Right now it doesn't point to anything. So go back to our class and go to the constructor. So we need to really create something for it. So go back to, we use the create. So let me copy paste this one. So this one will default. We will use the default sub-object. This one to create our object, and this is the common way to create a component for our and create a component, and we can assign to our pointer. So because it needs us to put the class name, subject name, and this is a return type. So this is like a template, right? And what's the type you put, they will return, right? So this is a template, and for the parameter itself, you just need the name, right? And this is a transient. Transient is a option, so we don't care right now. And it has the default value. So from this signature, so we know we need to put a type. And back to our code. So here, what is our SpringArm type? The type is your class. So yeah, so that's why we put a class here. And the name, we just like this name will show on the blueprint later on. So we can just copy paste, and to remind us this is the same thing in a C++. Okay, so we create them, and we need to do some setting, right? So the first of all, basically we are trying to do is we create a camera boom, right? We want to create something, this camera boom, which means it will there's a line or a distance behind the character, and we hope this camera boom can stick, or you can say attach on this character with certain length, right? So yeah, so for our code, we first of all we need to set up attachment to the root component. So for the root component, basically is the component of this character. So basically this is like a popular way to stick something to this root, to this all mesh. So we attach them. So right now this camera boom can stick with this character. And after that, we need to set it. We say we want to this camera boom can add some length with some length, right? So, but how you know what kind of a variable we can set? So you just go into the class itself, and this is a SpringArm component, and you can see there is a lot of variable we can set. So the first one is the target arm length, right? So we need to set this end length. So yeah, go back here, Spring component, and we already know we have this one can use. So let's just set 180, and after that we want this camera boom follow the movement and the rotation of the character. So we don't rotate this camera boom itself, right? We just try to stick with the character. So we don't. So we will use the use the pawn control rotation. So basically true. We set it is to true, because we are not trying to move the boom, this camera boom itself. We don't, right? We just try to follow the pawn. So what the pawn does, and we does the same thing. We do the same thing, right? So if player control a pawn, which means pawn right now is the player. So when the player move this character from their controller, the rotation, no matter what the rotation it is, we will directly apply to our bone. So in that case, this bone can stick on this character. Okay, so let's update. So which means we close our editor and then rebuild again, and then we can see the difference. Oops. So there's some build error. Let's see. Okay. Okay, it said it's undeclared identifier. Okay, yes. Because so back to our now we close this one. Back to our declare. So now we declare this type, but we need to include it, right? Otherwise, the compiler doesn't know how this class looks like. So, but this is a right now here. This is like a .h file. So basically, we will use the forward declaration and tell the compiler, hey, you don't have to worry about this class content right now. We will give you real include in the C++. So now in the C++, we really need to include this type. So how do we know the path of this object? So basically, there are several ways. The easiest way is just you copy this component, you open your browser, and you just search on that. So go to the Unreal document, and here you will tell you if you want to use this component, you just include this. So you copy that and back to your file you save, and we can compile again. Yep, it's success. Okay, then we reopen our BP again. Now you can see there's a new SpringArm component. This is what we just created. So when clicking it, you can see there's a line behind the character. And if you go to the right hand side, you see the target arm length is 180. That is because we set a number here. Okay, so the next thing basically is the same idea, but we want to put a real camera on it, because right now we just have a camera bone, it do nothing. So back again, and so we still need to add another object called camera component. It's much more straightforward, and I just call a camera component and copy the same thing and do the this is a real camera, and again we need to create this object real create this object in our constructor. So let me do this. And the same, we are using the default value, but this time we will create a camera. So let me click update camera component. We call it camera component, and again we try to set attach, because our camera right now trying to attach our SpringArm, right? So now we attach our camera to the SpringArm. And if you see the define, set up attachment. You can see there's a parent class. The first parameter is parent class, and second parameter is a name, the socket name. So it mentioned about, okay, if you want to put a parent class, it should be a scene component. So go back to our code. But we put the SpringArm component, right? We just create a SpringArm component here. This is the address. Now this is a pointer we put into that. Why we can do that? So let's go back to the SpringArm component. Here you can see the SpringArm component inherits from the scene component, and because the object-oriented programming, there's a spirit is this child is the parent. So we can say this SpringArm component is scene's component. So because of that, we put this one to the first parameter. It works because the SpringArm component is scene's component. Okay, but the other one, the socket name, basically we try to where's the editor? Right here. We try to put camera at the end of this boom, right? Camera boom here. So this is not the first time we want to do that. So other people already want to do that before. So the Unreal already have the method can help us. So which is you go to the Spring component again to see layer socket. There is a socket name. Give me a second. Let me find it out. Here, there is a static function socket name to let us can use it. So the name of socket at the end of the SpringArm, right? So looking back toward to the origin. So this is what we want, and because this is static, so we need to use the scope method to get that. So which means statica is socket name right there. Okay. So we attach our camera on the SpringArm at the bottom of the SpringArm. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is we want to set how palm control can affect this camera. So just like this SpringArm. So let's do this again. So, but now this time we will set to false. It's because we don't want to palm controller, the rotation from palm controller also control the camera. We don't want that because when we moving the character, we also want to use mouse to left hand or right hand to turn, or you can say to rotate the camera to let us can see the world in different angle, right? Just like you play the FPS game. So we don't want to bind the palm control with the camera together. So that's why we set this to false. Okay, then let's compile and to see what happened. Okay, now we build fail again. So of course, it is because I haven't included this header file. So again, we go back to our .h, and we use forward declare for the camera component, and we go to the C++, and here we need to we need to add the Dutch file. So let me show you another way to to know what is the path for this component. So we copy this class name, but without the U, right? Because we already know the file, the .h file, should have the same name as their class name, right? So we search this .h in this entire solution, and it keeps scrolling down. Okay, right there you can see camera component .h, and these paths start from the class. So which means our path here is camera, and you can copy paste this, right? Because start the folder structures looks like it's classes, camera, and under the camera you can see the camera component .h. So but here in the include we don't need a class of one. We just start from the camera. Okay, let's repeat it again. Yeah, it works. And open the blueprint again. Now you see there's a camera shows up. Okay. So and when we click the SpringArm, you will see the red line, and the camera is attached on the SpringArm. So the hierarchy is we can only we can change lots of setting on SpringArm, and the camera component will follow that because the camera component is under the SpringArm. So yeah, and let's see what we can see when we click play. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. Right now the view doesn't start inside the model anymore, and it looks like it is the view is what it shows here, right? Because we are seeing the character from the behind, and yeah, and we can change the setting. There's a 180, right? We can turn this larger and compile, save, and replay again. Yeah, it follows our setting. So okay, so now we can see the scenes much clearer than before. So the next we will try to control this character.